Lisa Fischer, everyone. Being introduced by the Queen of Media, I am humbled. Yes, dialing for dollars. How many of you remember that? It's still on Channel 4. But I spun that little squirrel cage, y'all. I spun it with the best spin you could ever ask. I knew every prefix in the state. Like, we'd pull it out. We'd say the number was, and I would know it. I would know what county they were from. And I'm glad to see it still exists. I want to tell you the story today of a little girl from Newark, New Jersey, who thrived because of the love of a single parent. She was born into a home already shadowed by addiction. Both parents wrestled with alcohol. And by the time she was a few years old, divorce had split her family apart. Her mother remarried, hoping for a new beginning, but the man she chose the second time was carrying his own demons. He battled drugs, had bipolar disorder, and the two were a lethal combination. As one day his fight ended in tragedy, he took his own life. It could have been the breaking point for this little girl, but instead her single mom gathered up what she could, little strength she had, and made a decision that two of them would leave Newark behind and start fresh in New Orleans, her mother's hometown. For a time, it felt like maybe the tide was turning. But addiction is not easily outrun. Her mother's struggle with drugs and alcohol only deepened. Eventually, it consumed her completely. Just 3 weeks after the little girl's 12th birthday, she came home from 6th grade to the unthinkable. Her mother had overdosed, and she died, leaving her alone. She felt she had no one. The only child of a single mother meant she would have to move and find a new family. Most children that age are worried about making the team, what to wear to school the next day, worried about homework. This little girl was forced to face a silence that no child should ever know. The silence of a home without any parent or siblings. The silence of grief and fear wrapped together. This little girl's biggest concern, her biggest concern was who's going to wash her hair and where is she going to live? Because her mother had taken such good care of her despite her addiction. Thankfully, she had a first cousin and her husband in another state who picked her up in New Orleans to give her a temporary place to stay. I'm intimately familiar with that little girl, with her griefs and fears, because I am that little girl. It still breaks my heart to tell. It was a difficult time for me, but my story didn't end there. In fact, it actually began there. The cousins who gave me the temporary housing ended up adopting me, and I spent my teen years in a tiny town in southeast Arkansas. They're very dear to me. They have both since passed, but they were very dear to me. I named my children after them. I changed my last name to Gibson. I named my son Gibson. His name is Sydney Gibson. I named my daughter Sydney, my son Gibson. I have another child named Margaret. It's named after her mother. I came to realize a few truths after this. One is that many children of alcoholics say that if they could only lighten the mood, or make better grades, or not fight, then maybe their parents wouldn't drink, or do drugs, or argue, or whatever dysfunction existed. It's not true. I wasn't responsible for my parents' choices. I also came to realize that I wasn't responsible for their behavior. It wasn't my job to keep them, or even my adoptive parents, from drinking or abusing drugs. I was always the funny one because I thought if I'm funny, my humor would keep my mother happy, because depression often leads to depression. Alcoholism often leads to depression, and depression can often lead to alcoholism. You see the cycle there. Third, I had to realize that to pull myself up from the bootstraps, I had to work hard. The cousins who adopted me did the very best they could with me, but there's always a void when a parent dies, especially before adulthood. And to top it off, my biological father was still alive in New York City. He didn't mob me. He said, I'm sorry this happened. And then I had a brother, a biological brother, who was also in Manhattan. He couldn't take care of me to his late 20s, so the Gibson family provided for me, and they raised a mouthy teenager. Let me just tell you, it was, they should be it. No wonder they drank. I mean, that was a mess. So the Gibsons sent me to a private school for middle school and high school in Southeast Arkansas, the town of Beaumont. I went to the University of Arkansas. I majored in journalism. I managed a career for 40 years now, telling stories, reporting the news, interviewing people. I chose journalism and connected with the people I interviewed because I'm always looking for ways to improve my life. And I always look to others and what wisdom can I glean from somebody else? Some of the things that are in my advantage are that I married the man of my dreams. It was 38 years ago. It was 1988 that we got married, almost 38 years ago. And Kris Fischer has done so much to help me soar. And the result has been that we've raised 3 outstanding adult children, and now they're raising their own families. The cycle of poverty and addiction was breaking. The right mate, while making healthy choices, my faith in the Lord, are the backbone of a life well lived. So you just heard the story of a little girl who could have been broken by her circumstances, but wasn't. The child who witnessed much more than a child ever should have seen. I failed to mention that I was a victim of sexual abuse by a neighbor, all while living in poverty. I saw the bruises on my mother after she was beaten by her suitors. I saw her crying after being assaulted. I saw her sloppy drunk. I saw her die. Those are images I will never shake. And I had to learn to survive, to fight, and to thrive, and I did it, all because of the love of a single mother. My mother believed in me in ways I could never express. I didn't know I wasn't in the Smithsonian as the only child ever born. But she loved that kid, and she believed in me. She adored me. She told me I was funny and beautiful and talented. I'm hardly any of those things, but she told me I was that, and that's what allowed me to walk into this room today with confidence. I've often wondered what my life would have been like if she even had one opportunity that these women, men and women are getting, to break free from addiction, to break the poverty cycle. I knew she could, her picture was broken, as we say, couldn't pick the right man. But she was the one, and I didn't know how to express it. She was the one who was funny and beautiful and talented. She was the first junior Miss New Orleans and a gorgeous redhead and so delightful. I have 2 red-haired children, and that's why I need so much to meet a red-haired grandchild. I wish she could have broken some of the things to start over, and what you're doing in helping these moms and dads, you're helping the next generation. If you could help even any single parent with anything, I ask you to give to them financially, but also emotionally. The money you give today does give the scholarship money, but I wish you'd give them a hand, because sometimes they need some help. The mom with the 4 kids, she needed someone to run to Walmart to pick up her order. You probably had challenges where you just thought, now you have your mother here. But some people don't even have a mom helping them. If we can invest in these people and help them ways like that, it would mean so much to them. My mother never had any of those resources. She never had any support. That little welfare check we picked up every month barely covered our expenses. There was no other outside help, whether someone could pick up a meal or buy some school supplies to help. These parents need mentors, and they need your wisdom. They need to hear from people who have survived their own stories, both good and bad. I wish my mother experienced more of that, like in a community. Scholarships to college and trade school to raise these families out of their circumstances. We could train a generation, especially of women, to do things that AI can't. Plumbers, carpenters. I would hire a female plumber in a minute who would be judgy about the hair in my drain. Every time I call a plumber, we talk about the hair in my drain. Or they use the female hygiene products, which I may have passed that age, but I still have daughters and granddaughters. I would hire a woman to do carpenter or HVAC work because she would never have to have, the woman would know where the thermostat should be in the bedroom so that she could keep the room cool and never put it down the hallway. So stupid. Women, of course, make great people in the service industry, whether it's nursing, managing a restaurant, or the person who cuts your hair. And that can't be done without financial resources. There's so much we can do to help these women soar, and we can break the cycle of addiction and poverty right now, and so many people have done that for me. Another thing I need to say is the right mate, along with making healthy choices and my faith in the Lord, as I said earlier, are what helped me get to the next step. But we need to give these single moms and dads, I mean, we can get them on Hinge, we can fix them on, no, I'm kidding. That's not your job. But there are some women who do want a mate. There are some men who do want someone. They want a helper at home to help encourage them as well. Here's the truth. That little girl who lost everything at age 12, I mean, for all intents and purposes, y'all, I was an orphan. I moved to a state I've really never heard of. I mean, I've been in Jersey and New Orleans, Arkansas. And then I picked up the accent. Thank you very much. But I moved to this state with just a little overnight bag and a few of those photos without a goodbye to my friends, my classmates, my teachers. They would be surprised now how I turned out with this confidence because they knew the story. I'm living proof that even the hardest stories can be rewritten. From the streets to Newark, to that unthinkable event in Gretna, Louisiana, that's the West End, to the microphone, to cameras, to my love of helping people, my life has been the journey of resilience and a reminder that I couldn't have done this without the love of a single parent. Thank you for having me.